They do not yet have a history tab that is going to be in probably the next update. So you need to remember the server name. I always look for new wipes, so I went with the 316. I just had to remember how I searched for it, and it was with the number 16. The version, the player's ping, the full title of the place, and if there's a home marker, that means you have a character on the server. You can only have one character per server. So this is the roof of my house. It is made of log blocks, and it is made of, let me get the proper name, spruce branches block, which are made of twigs. So I have a log house and a twig house. I have not used any other materials on this. So this is an entrance from the roof. You cannot get here from the ground. You must come in through here. This is my bed, and it takes up a lot of room, so you have to make a pretty decently sized building. I do have a tree in my house because I wanted to see if I could, and you can. This is the crafting table. Very hard to place. They need a lot of room. I couldn't even put it in this corner. They're very touchy. They're very specific about where they go, and you cannot build within a certain area of them. So my roof actually has to be raised above the crafting table. And this is my chest. It has enough room for 8 items. And my fire pit is turned on its side. Still works completely fine. Alright, this is a basic wooden door. I believe I've read somewhere they have 1200 health. Not hard to break down, so normally it's wise to have space between doors. Like a door, a hallway, and so on. Or somebody could just break down my log wall, but I think that's a bit harder than breaking down the door. So, let's back up a little bit. That is what my house looks like. Now it's pretty easy to see, but back when it was a shorter building and made of all these leaves, it is actually kind of a camouflage. So that is the benefit of using the lower level bricks, is that they are harder to see, which is a nice way to start off the game as not being a beacon. So I have log all around on the bottom. My floor inside is made of leaves, but if anyone tries to break in, their best bet is going to be breaking down my wooden door, not actually the log bricks. Someone could harass me here and break down this, but there's no structural stability, so that doesn't actually affect anything at all. I'd emptied most of my inventory. I've got my javelins, a thrown weapon, berries for food and water, my resource hatchet, which is great for cutting trees, band-aids for healing, a club for attack, I've not yet made a formal weapon, and some cooked meat to boost my food. Because the berries do not do very much food, they do a good chunk of thirst. So you can collect bushes throughout the world. These give you sticks. This has berries on it. So I get berries, and then I can break it down for sticks. I'm not sure if I were to leave the bush, if berries would come back, but that bush was not there when I logged out even just 20 minutes ago. So the world is constantly repopulating at a very quick speed. Down there's a moose. I picked an area around moose so I could have animals to farm if needed. And unlike my last game, I don't have wolves everywhere, which is a wonderful thing. It was terrible to go out and be pestered by wolves while hitting trees. Just realized I'm running around with meat in my hands. Kind of strange. So I feel safe leaving my house now, finally, that it is made of wood. So I was going to look around for some flax. Flax is necessary to make a fletching station, and I believe to upgrade to our workbench to a tanning rack, and to make some higher level items or other upgrades. This is about the farthest I've gotten in the game because my last server went down and the host never restarted it. So I restarted this about, I would say I put 2 hours into this server so far. Down there are flowers. They're used in making certain odds and ends items. I believe one is the Potion of Appearance, which is the only way to change your character after you have made them. Ah, here's flax. White flowers, you only get 5 at a time. I believe for the fletching station it's 55, so we have to find 11 of those plants, all while roaming, being vulnerable to attack from other players, and remembering where the base is. That is not something to be underestimated. It is very easy to get turned around. There are a few landmarks in the game, the main one being where the king lives. The king sets the taxes for the realm, and he can decide what percentage of your work he gets. When I logged off about 20 minutes ago, our king had put the taxes up to 20% because he was mad at one person on the server. He went, took the throne, and jacked up the prices. Ah, we actually had a different king, and he just died, as seen in the bottom left. So that is the king's palace I was just looking at, way over there. Very easy to see. And I was told, I have not checked this, that that is the only place in the game to get iron. I've never worked with iron, I've never gathered iron. I've only ever had the workbench. And all I did was I made the fletching station on my last server and then it went down, so I never even got to use it. So this is as far as I've gotten in the game. But I'm planning on making a fletching station, and once that's done, I'd like to make a bow and arrow, have a few javelins, make myself a weapon, possibly some wooden armor, and a pickaxe, and I would like to go farm some iron. Until then, I am gathering, and this is basically the game. This is a low population server. It was wiped today, that's why it's not overbuilt. You don't see stone castles everywhere. There's only 7 people on it right now, so there's not very many. But that's usual with a fresh wipe, especially ones in the middle of the day. And this is the only one I could find that was wiped today, and it had about 100 ping, so if somebody's not really desperate for a new server, they might look for one wiped yesterday. I'm still collecting sticks even though I want a wooden or eventually a stone house, because you never know when you're going to need to build quickly. You can craft twig blocks like I have on my place very quickly, and if you need a quick repair or need to outline a new floor, it's very easy because in this game, if you place a block, you can do so doing the left mouse click. But if you are holding a different block and you click the middle mouse button, the scroll wheel, you will actually swap the blocks. So you can make your entire base out of twigs and then just swap the twig block with, say, a log block or a stone block. It's a very easy system so you can get a twig base up as quickly as possible and then change out into a higher tier without having to break down your blocks or having to remove and then place. It's just a sleek system. So down here is the road. I've not done much exploring in the map except before I settled. I chose a place where I could see the king's castle that's a few minutes walk away but not close, because again, the only source of iron I've been told on the whole map is at the king's castle, and you don't want to build right next to that because, well, you'll get attacked. While doing this, I'm keeping in mind that the base is somewhere up in that direction. Much easier to see now that it's not a 3-high twig base, but I don't want to get lost. Worst case scenario, absolute worst case, I can kill myself using a rock, and I will respawn at that bed that I have placed in the house. This is the swamp area that we're near. I don't know much about the swamp. I don't know its purpose. I know it's very easy to see someone if they're running across the swamp. The view distance in this game is very high. It's easy to spot players. Combat is so far been a decent system. I've had some issues with lag, where I'll be hitting someone and then they'll be 10 feet ahead of me and I didn't actually hit them, and odd quirks like that, but nothing broken. It's livable because everyone's got to suffer the same amount of lag. It's not just certain players for the most part. This is hay. I'm not sure what it's specifically used for, but I grab it whenever I can see it. Ah, 2 flax right here. Awesome. Or I should say 10. Now I spend a lot of time cutting trees. Each one of those log blocks is 25 wood, and every swing from an axe like this on a tree is about 7. So it does take quite some time to raise all of that wood. The size of the tree does affect the amount of wood you get, and the tax affects how much wood you get. Right now, if I were to hit trees, I would be making much less than I did earlier. Our first king had, well, actually right now there's no tax. The king is dead. But our first king only put it on 1%. He was a nice guy, but he was dethroned because he lived far away from the castle, told everyone he wasn't there, and the angry person ran up to the throne and charged everyone 20%. In the bottom left you see I'm taking damage. This is because I am out of water, that middle bar on the bottom right. So I'm going to eat some berries to fill up my water bar. There are other ways of getting water. You can eventually make a well to gather water, but berries are the easiest since they are pretty common. You can craft while walking, running, and fighting, which is a wonderful thing if you have bulk items to create. The hunting is good. The more damage you do to an animal, the less they can move. So you can potentially chase down your prey if you hit them with a few javelins. I'm going to head back to where I think my house is because I got a little turned around there, but I believe it's up in this direction. If not, I know a few landmarks on the beaches to help me find it. I wouldn't run around with my club out because I am naked and I have no, well, I'm wearing a loincloth, but I have no armor on. So if somebody sees me with a club and I'm running around and I don't have any armor on, they're probably less likely to attack me, especially since I'm near the beach. You always spawn on a beach somewhere. So hopefully people would think I'm a new spawn. This is how you gain rock, at least initially. You can just pick up those little rocks on the ground. No pickaxe, no tool needed, you just hold E. I can't tell if jumping is faster while running or if it's equal, but I do tend to do it, though it's probably a bad idea because people would be able to spot me much easier. I feel like my house may have been the other way, but I'm going to come a bit closer up here just to check. That top bar of mine down there, as you can see, went very far down. That is because I was sprinting and jumping. That just comes back very quickly, but you have to stop and walk, which is not always the best thing to do when being chased. So, I believe this is closer to the king statue than I normally ever was. So I'm going to turn back because I believe my house is actually this way. As you can see, there's not been a lot of flax along the way. I would have grabbed it. It's not very common, so to go out on a flax run is a little obnoxious because it takes a while. Now I'm all turned around. The King Castle is normally, I'm not very straight onto it, so I'm probably gotta run a diagonal this way, up to there. That might be where I'm at. I remembered that I was to the tree side of the king. The tree being that tree up there next to the head. The king's castle looks like a king. The bridge looks like his sword. I thought that was a nice touch, and it is a great landmark to try to find people. If you're ever trying to hook up with your friends, the castle is a dangerous meeting place, but you can use, say, look at the king and go to his left, or go to his right, or go to your left or your right, based on where you're looking at the king, or tree side or non-tree side. right now, still looking around for flax. There's the house. But still looking around for flax. Not seeing much of any. Glad I'm not lost. That's always a bonus. Until more people fill this server, there's not going to be houses as landmarks, so we do have to use the land, which can be a little tricky at times, as I just demonstrated, especially if you're bad at navigating like I can be sometimes. So now I'm back. I do not have any wood, but that is a good chunk of flax I brought in. So I'm going to deposit the flax in this chest. My other chest is upstairs, just to keep the loot separate so I don't lose everything. I don't tend to keep wood in the house just because it's very easy to get wood. Plus, in an emergency scenario, I could cut down this tree that I have. Oops, did not mean to do that. There are collect all and deposit all buttons, which are very nice features. If you've ever played other survival games, they tend not to have those. So if you kill someone, you wait for their bag to pop out, and then you just collect all, and you can run off. It's a wonderful system, saves a lot of time looting chests or people. A few things about the game are a little wonky. The tree physics can be very strange. At first, you hit the tree. It'll take a while. I'm only getting 6 per swing, sometimes it's 7. And normally, above the word wood, there would be a little minus some amount of wood, because there would be a king that would be taxing. So the tree's been cut, it is now falling. You have to cut up the bits of the tree as it falls. But as I said, the physics can be weird sometimes, but this is going downhill, and I'm not even going to bother chasing the tree. That one did not fling away like some of the trees have. I've had trees pole vault away from me and just completely fly away. Not even worth trying to chase. See, this smaller tree was cut down much faster, and oh, there it goes. But once a tree falls, you cut up its remaining parts, and it has a little more wood on it. I like to keep the territory around my house clear, so I can see if anyone is around to attack. That sounded like a wolf. I know there's some down towards the beach. It is becoming nighttime. It will be much harder to see, even with gamma turned up, or the brightness in-game turned up. I mean, I have not yet tried my personal screen's gamma. This game may have countered that, as for seeing cases in games like Rust. In Rust, if you don't know, the players would turn up their gamma, and if you did not do so, every single player that did had an unfair advantage over you. And eventually everyone just had their gammas turned up, and the game did not look very good. I guess I'll go up here. You can hit towards the tip of the tree and it will slowly break the end off, as you saw it break down there. Normally it's 3 or 4 segments before the entire tree breaks. Spotted this flax over here. Now, all of those trees will eventually come back. All of the bushes and berries around my place will eventually come back. It just takes some time. It's not immediate, it's not very quick, but it will happen. It's not anything like other survival games like Rust. I believe it's a few days in game, or possibly even a day or two real time. This is much quicker than that, and though it's not very realistic, it is a nice touch to make the game a bit easier on the player. As far as surviving, food is not very hard to come by. Initially, all you need to do is search out berries, and you will be fine. If you do not find some berries immediately, then you may starve to death or die of dehydration. Outside of that, it's really not a big threat. I mean, you've seen me look at a few moose and elk, and I didn't even bother to kill them because I've got probably 50 food at the house from killing 2 or 3 animals. The fire takes very little fuel. I'm going to go over there before I start this crafting to keep on. And I leave the light on at night because I'm actually hoping someone comes around so I can get a fight or meet someone. Not even cooking anything, but it has been running. I probably put 20 fuel in this initially, and it's cooked all of my meat, and it just runs and runs and runs. This tells me what can be burned as fuel inside here, and what can be put in, and what can come out of it. It's a very neat system. I have yet to burn my food. It must have to stay in there a very long time. Or maybe it's a chance, I'm not entirely sure. The charcoal you get out of here can actually be put back in as fuel, but it has other uses, so I would not do that. Oh, here's the explanation. 1 wood burns for 15 minutes. That is a very long time. Hay causes the fire to smoke. That'll be good for tracking down friends. It can be upgraded into a smelter, apparently, which just requires 25 stone for that upgrade. I don't necessarily want to do that to this fire because it is tilted and I really don't want my smelter to be tilted, so I may put a fire on my second floor and make that one into a smelter. So over here is my crafting table. It is necessary to make more items. If you look through, this is me clicking tab to look at the crafting menu and inventory. This is all I can make right now. If you open the crafting table, anything in blue is something I can make only because I am at this crafting table. So what I want to make is a fletching station. This will allow us to make bows and arrows. And this tells us the potential upgrades. You can eventually upgrade it to an advanced fletcher. So the crafting time is never bad. This is taking a minute. Since this is made at the workbench, I can back out of this. I can go into my inventory. I could be making something completely different without the crafting station. I could walk away to another crafting station. The crafting station makes that all on its own. These are the weapons I could make. I just need some bone. But the flax seems to be the most important material here. I had an axe in the last game. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if I would trade it for a dagger or a spiked club, because they all do the same amount of damage. But I'm imagining that... oh, this does one more, I'm sorry. But I'm imagining that this has a better reach. But I may even make this instead, because I do have the bones and fangs, and the spiked club does look... it is more powerful, and it looks cooler. So how about we do that? Well, actually, I've not killed any wolves this time, so I don't have fangs. So never mind on that. This should be done. There's our fletching station. It's in the inventory, and I'm going to put it on my hotbar. I'm going to see if there's enough light up here to place this, because if it's not bright out, I don't necessarily want to place it somewhere I don't want it. Placing items in this game has given me a lot of trouble. It's not game-breaking, but it can be fairly annoying. Just trying to get something to line up properly. It must be green for you to place it, which, as you can see, can be a little off at times. There. That wasn't too bad. It's much harder when you're placing it indoors in a smaller area. This is much bigger. I expanded this from the first floor. It's got about a 2 or 3 overhang over in this direction. So hopefully I'll be able to fit a few tools up here. So I never even opened my fletching station back on my other server that is currently closed. So there are target practice dummies. Cool. And there are projectiles. Alright. Iron-tipped arrow. I have no iron because I have not been over there by the castle to get iron, and I have not any feathers because I have not found any chickens yet. And I have not exactly searched either. Steel-tipped, stone-tipped, or just wood arrow. So any arrow is going to require feathers. That means a supply of chickens. That'll have to be an adventure in its own. I do have enough to make a bow, but since I don't have any arrows, I'm not going to bother, and that would be the rest of my flax. Just to go through some of the rest of the crafting abilities. Horns can make a loud noise. That is good for finding players. All these horns. Otherwise, there are banners you can make as adornments. Or the sharp rock is the only way in the game to commit suicide. And if you're tied up, it can be placed in your orifice, which means if somebody has you grabbed, tied up, imprisoned, or anything, they can't take this away from you, which will allow you to kill yourself so you're not stuck in their dungeon. I don't have one, so if I'm captured, we could be in for a surprise. Someone's down there. Hello? Hello? Let's see where this guy goes. So, I just killed him. I'm not sure what happened there. That is his bag of things. He had a nice bit on him, actually, so I'm going to collect all of that and run back to my place. Now, he's probably not going to be very happy about that, and I clicked the G button to wave, which unfortunately showed him my name. So he now knows who I am, and that may not end well for me. I did not expect that to be water. I thought that was a tear. They are called, I forget the exact name, something tears, which can be used in making lockpicks. So, not as cool as I thought it was, but hey, still, I guess it's some water just to have hanging around. He also had a bed, some hay, flowers, sticks, flax, and a lot of wood, which is wonderful. 1,000 wood is a good number of trees, and it will help me defend this place against him, because he will probably be back and angry. So a lot of clay, too, and I don't have a lot of clay around here or a pick to gather it. A spare stone hatchet, which is never a terrible thing to have, and I guess he had a lot of javelins, because I did not have that many. So I always like to have javelins stored in the house as a backup precaution. So I'm going to put 21 javelins on my roof. So if I die near my house, I can respawn with javelins and a tool at least. And instead of those torches being there, I will put a club. So I'm going to make another chest, because there are some things in here I want to keep, like the bed. I hope to have 2 friends joining me later. Oops, I do not want to place the bed, I want to place the chest. And I will again just place it right here. I kind of like to have all these in a row. I'll eventually organize these, but I don't have too much of a variety going on right now. So it may not be very safe for me to go out and about Resource anymore. He may know this place, or he may just be passing through. I don't know if he was typing, his game crashed, he lagged out, I'm not sure. But he was the king when we logged in, and then we saw him be dethroned. So I'm going to put all those in and create the log blocks, the highest tier I can create right now. So I'm going to turn all of these into blocks by just typing some extremely high number, which will then put the maximum I can there. So again, I can walk away from this. Scout out would be the best idea, because I don't know if he's coming back. Or, when that's doing that, I might actually go and hit a tree, because I doubt he can come back that quickly. So I'm going to get as many resources as I can before he returns. Because I'm going to want a weapon, and I'm going to want possibly a second door leading into my place. Because if he's angry enough, he could attack my door. Right when I get 100 wood, I'm going to make my door. That's how trees should fall. The falling tree noise plays when it falls, and also once you've cut it to bits, so that is not somebody else cutting a tree. The noise is very easy to hear from far away, and the animation of a falling tree is pretty easy to see, as you would expect, because it is a massive falling tree. Ah, someone is claiming the throne. Now when the throne is empty, you just have to run in there and sit on the chair long enough to become the king. Now, anyone at any time can run in and sit on that chair. It's just a matter of going and doing it. It's a long-ish run for me. I don't know how long, because it's very hard to tell distance so far in this game, because I have not experienced it very much. That is a horn sounding from the castle, because he has claimed the throne. Now let's see what he sets the taxes to. If he sets it anywhere, I bet above 10, people will not be very happy. I've played a lot with 1s and 2s even, just so people don't get overthrown. He can name the realm whatever he wants, as he did there. And people tend to react in chat about a new king. 15%. So now you see, down in the bottom right hand corner below my wood, that I am losing wood to tax every single swing, or every few swings. Since the tax is so high, it is every swing. Oh, there goes my tree. Not much I can do about that, except chase it down. Real quick, when I'm finishing this off, going to start my door. I don't have any iron to make a better door, and I don't necessarily want a gate. Keeping an eye out for that guy. He came from the road, which is near me. Now I have this wood, and my door is ready. The worst mechanic I have experienced in this game so far is the door placement. It is fairly obnoxious. I don't quite understand fully how it works. Like, I don't know why I cannot place a door there, but I can there. But I can there. And I'm left clicking right now to place this door, and it is not working. I want it lined up with this door, so I can make a tunnel. Left clicking still, and no luck with the placement. It is left click the place. Says it's red sometimes and green other times, which is confusing. Let's see if I can place it from this direction. No. Then I will try on this square. Doesn't want me to do that either. Maybe if I place it farther out. This is also not working. Don't necessarily want a floating door either. That's kind of strange. Maybe it is the uneven ground. That could be it. Is this lined up? No, it is not lined up. So let's line it up and float the door a little. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go back in here, and I'll make a few twig blocks so I can get something down. When we're doing that, I'm going to leave the wood in here and make as many as I can. More log blocks, because I'm going to want that entire thing encased in log blocks. So, let's see. I must have left the twigs on the upper floors. Only 5 twigs. Not as much as I remembered having. Oh well. Let's Let's see if I left any blocks somewhere. Don't believe so. Oh, that's right, because there's the 75. Great. I'll move something from this layer to there. Keep things organized and condensed. Alright. So I'm going to now make these twig blocks. As they fill in, I'm not sure how high the falling damage is, or how bad it is if it happens. So let's see if I can place a door there. Yes, they go in the middle of the blocks. That's not lined up again. What a fail. There we go. The doors are locked by default. You never have to make a lock. You just have to place them. There. I now have 2 doors leading to my main area, so now their best route will be to actually go through my walls. Which they probably already guessed, but it is a deterrent. And it makes me feel a little safer having 2 doors, because I can trap an assailant in there. 53 blocks is the most I've had at one time. That's a good bit of wood. So now I can show you this system. I just have to look at a twig block, click the scroll button, while having the log block selected, and I can change them out very easily. Now we have a nice, safe, wooden entryway. I'm going to go up here. Now these walls will eventually be logged. Eventually this whole thing will be logged, and these spruce is just a placeholder. Looking around to see if anyone's around. I like the tree because it gives me cover without being blocked. I blend in. I don't want these chests being destroyed by javelins, so I want the blocks protecting them to be made of log. Also, this is where I come out of the house, and I don't want to be killed coming out. And it's also a little hard to see when everything is made of twigs. So this clears up my view to come out here and be ready to attack. I can see out, but they cannot see in. There are windows in the game, but so far I have not made a base that is very defensible with windows. I've just gone for expansion and looks, because those seem to come first. It's getting the crafting tables and figuring out the lay of the land on this game. I do want the floor to be wood as well, because if for some reason there is a way to get onto roofs that I do not know about, I don't want them to be able to tunnel through my roof just through one twig block by getting on my roof. That would be a very boring way to lose all of my things. So there's no real pattern to me doing this. I want to do some walls wood, I want to take out some of the floor. I'm just kind of doing what I feel like, because I'm eventually going to have to do all of it anyways. Nothing feels too urgent to me. And now, in changing all those blocks into log blocks, I have the 48 spruce blocks back, because I placed exchanged 48 log blocks. One of the major landmarks I've used to found my house in the past is, of course, the king, and there is his tree. This is about my view distance of him. And I'm assuming that is the Plague City. It looks like a city out there in the distance. That is an equivalent of Rust radiation towns. There are nice things to be found in there, but you do slowly die. So you can make potions that resist the plague for a minute at a time, or I'm assuming armor helps you to live through there, or maybe a lot of food, or maybe some combination of all of that. I have not tried, I have not been anywhere near the castle. So I've never seen the throne, the iron, or the plague cities. I'm going to finish walling this in with my twig branches, or blocks. So I do have an encased area up here. Oh, that king has died. That was very quick. I didn't feel the 5% was terrible, but 0 is even better. Let's just hope somebody worse doesn't take over. So that is about it for this first little bit of playthrough. I got the flax to make my fletching station, found out I need to find some chickens, killed a man and took his things. Free little bonus there, nice little bonus of wood. And I have finished off my second floor's wall, not its roof and not its stairs, but just enough protection that I should not be attacked within. I'm assuming the players are 2 blocks high because that's how high we can jump. You can do a little double jump to climb up blocks, but if you make your bases 3 high, that will work. But if you plan on having a crafting station within, I know the blocks above that must at least be 4 high. Alright, I'm going to take a short break here and probably post this video as a short intro tutorial. If there's any other questions or anything else you guys would like to see, please comment on the video. Thank you.